Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on building Salesforce User Experience by Johan Yu. In this session, Johan will give you a brief overview on the importance of UX and how to incorporate good user experience practices when building Salesforce applications. Now, a few housekeeping rules. Please use the live Q&A feature in the AirTouch option at the bottom right of your screen to submit any questions during or after the presentation. And for regular chat, you can use the discussion forum option. We will have a short Q&A after the session where we will review and address your questions based on time availability. With that, let me pass control to our speaker for today. Over to you, Johan. Take it away.
Hello everyone, welcome to SEA Dreamin, the first Salesforce community event from Southeast Asia. My name is Johan Yu, I'm Salesforce MVP. I am also co-leader of Salesforce Singapore user groups. I'm a book author, also a blogger. You can find me on Twitter at simplysftc. Okay, before we start these sharings, I would like to thanks to all our sponsors that make this event happen. Today, I will speak about building user experience in Salesforce, how to make your users happy when they're using Salesforce. So just to be clear, this is not about Experience Cloud, but on the Salesforce core platform, on the Sales and Service Cloud. Our agenda today, what is the user experience in Salesforce, and the key takeaways. Let's get this started. What is user experience? In short, user experience is a common sense. Common sense than what you expect when you're dealing with someone or when you're dealing with a company. It is happening in our daily life. Let me take a few examples. First one, let's say you are opening a bank account. This has nothing to do with systems. You walk into a bank, probably with the queue numbers, and you will wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Maybe you can get your numbers in 15 minutes. You pass your ID card and you get your bank account and you will feel happy. Like you feel that, oh, this bank is reliable. It makes sense for you. But when you wait for 1 hour, more than 1 hour, you may think that something wrong with this bank. So your experience as a customer, with customer experience in broad, is fall down with that banks. See here, have nothing to do with the systems. Next, let's say you are booking a flight ticket. This is after COVID pandemic. And now we are dealing with the systems. You are open a travel website and you try to find a flight. It takes you like maybe 30 seconds. Is that acceptable? Maybe no, you expect like 10 seconds is enough. You should get the result. But fine, since 30 seconds you get the result, you go ahead to select a flight that you want to book. Then you select that flight. You get an error, say, oh, this flight have no more seats. Okay, that's fine. You are trying already. Okay, I'm not so good with this travel website, but I will try again. I select the flight on the day after. And okay, this one have seats. You select the seats, you put in your credit card numbers, and then you submit again. And you get another message, which is like crash, something, error. It's more serious. On that moment, your experience with the system is down to the bottom. Right? You may just step out of that website and look for booking ticket from other travel website. But how that link to Salesforce? Salesforce for sure is a systems. It is a system that for your users to enter data, to move their pipeline, to generate reports, to submit something, let's say for approval whatsoever. How you as a Salesforce professionals can give a good experience to your users for them to trust the systems. And how to get a good system adoptions. You may say, oh, I have 99% of my users using Salesforce. But you need to check again, why they log into systems. Are they logged into the system because of the carrot or of a stick? Right. In this moment, if you think again, if your users need to log into Salesforce just to close one opportunity, otherwise they will not get the commissions, that is not a carrot, that is a stick. We want our users to log into the system to get the benefit from the systems. So what we can do, let's go to these presentations. I have 7 items to share on how to build a better user experience based on my experience working with Salesforce platform. First, always keep it simple. Your users just need to see things that they want to see. Like the fields, button, component, do not offer design. If you're also aware that you can set the page layout based on the profiles, based on the component, based on the profile as well, right? So not everyone need to see everything in the page layout. Let's say you have 200 fields in the accounts. That does not mean 200 fields should appear in the page layout for everyone. Okay, and when the things is simple, the page will load faster, and everyone love to have faster load page. Again, do not offer design. Salesforce of the box is good enough for your users to use the systems. Keep standard. What standard here means, like, let's say you have opportunity in the multiple states and you design multiple layout. Let's say the layout stage 1 have lesser field, stage 2 have more field, and so on. But try to make the field locations, the highlight panel, have the same field. The related list have the same related list. Not like stage 1, you have the owner somewhere at the top right, and the stage 2, the opportunity owner somewhere at the bottom. Your users will confuse. Try to step into your users' shoes. Then you understand how important simple thing for your users to make their life easier. Okay, and the same thing for other objects like accounts, for the case, for the contact. If you have multiple pages, multiple page layout, try to make it consistent. Even the LOV, the field name, whenever possible, make it standard. Keep it organized and group it. What I mean here, right? Let's say you have a bunch of fields for marketing. Group them together in the sections, and you have another, 5 fields for the legal. Group them together, so at least people know, oh, this field related to legal, this field related to marketing. Add the help text. This will help your users to understand what is this field about. Maybe for someone has been using the system for a while, they may aware, but for the new joiner, this will help them. Mandatory fields, if the fields have no logic, is always required, make it as a required field. and it will show as a star, red star. Users will aware at a glance that, okay, oh, this is something they have to enter to save the record. And if you're aware, recently Salesforce pushed more and more features in the in-app guidance. So you can show when you have a new features, new process, new fields, you can show to users based on their profile, based on the record type, and you even can put the prompt targeted to a component, right? Even that the component you want to show at the left, the right, top, or bottom of the component. You can do that with in-app guidance. It is free, right? Here, I just say, oh, this is a new features, which is a new field, let's say, opportunity type. And users can click more info to get the full documentation of that field, for example. Okay. Performance is always number one. If you do ask your users what they want to have from the system, of course, they want the system have the features that they want. They want the system have the fields, but they also want to have the system have the good performance. Right? I can't wait for every time I open a page, I need to wait for 30 seconds. It's too slow. Right? Fast. But in Salesforce, there are a few factors that determine the page load. First, computer hardware. If you go to technical requirements for Lightning Experience, and it will show you a page for you to speed test your computers. Right? So from here, it will show you the Octane score. So Salesforce have the minimum Octane score and recommended Octane score. I can say computer hardware is something easy, but not so easy because it is a budget from the company. If you have only 10 users, maybe easy, but if you have like 100 or 1,000 users, will become a big budget. So as a Salesforce admin, this maybe you can easily help, but you can try to let your users know that, oh, your computer has been like more than 3 years or 5 years. You may need to like upgrade to add more RAM or even get a new computers from the company. Okay. Internet connections. Nowadays, since COVID, most of us working from home. So if your internet is faster, of course you can get Salesforce load faster. It's the simple one. Yeah, it's the same for others website as well, others application. There's no different. So let your user know Salesforce on the cloud, they need to get a faster internet connections. Again, this is not something you can control easier, but to let your users know. Okay, so this one is interesting. Geolocation of the data center versus your users. When you subscribe to Salesforce, Salesforce will allocate data centers for you, which is shared to other customers. It's not just for you, it's other customers. So let's say my company is based in Singapore. Hopefully, I will get data centers based in Asia Pacific, right, when you set up with Salesforce. But if my users mostly invest in North America, it's not make sense for your users based on the majority where are they located. You can try to talk to Salesforce. If you say, oh, I would like to move my data centers from Asia Pacific to North America. And recently, Salesforce also introduced Hyperforce, where your data center is on the cloud and on public cloud within a country. So if you are operating users is just within a country, like it's just in Singapore or just in Australia or India, maybe you can start thinking about if you should move to Hyperforce. Okay. So this is a link. You can check where is your data center located based on your Salesforce instance. Okay, there's three things that you can't really control easily about the performance for your users. Next, these things that you can control. You can make it fast for your users. The first thing is less is more. I mentioned earlier, when you have a lesser rows, lesser fields, the page will load faster. Lesser field, lesser component, the page will load faster. Even there is only 0.5 seconds or 0.8 seconds, but if you have 1,000 users and your users opening Salesforce every day, like 200 times a day, imagine how many hours you save for your users. There's one thing that you can check how long a page is loaded, how many seconds. You just adding at the suffix equal EPD visible equal to 1. So these numbers will show you how long the page will load. Whether it's a home page, account page, account list, list view or case or whatever record. And then from when you try to play around with this, you can see when I adding a component or when I move a component behind a tab, you can see the difference of the page load. Okay. Of course, you need to try many times because a lot of factors like interconnections or hardware can be, yeah. So you get the idea. Try to try many times to get the average numbers. Okay. Another thing is a predictive page load time. So for every page, Salesforce have these tools to help us, Salesforce admin, to predict how long a page will be loaded, like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds. For this one, it showed me 3.1 seconds, which is not too bad because it's just a bit above green sectors. Right? Yeah. So if you can reach out to the green area, it's be much better. But this is just a predictive page load. So the real page load is still depend on the hardware, location, interconnections. So if your users is farther from the data centers, it takes more time, then the time will be load, the page will load slower. Rules. The rules I mentioned here is like sharing rules. The less the rules you have, the faster will page will be loaded. For examples, rules, you have 100 rules to share rules for, let's say, opportunity. Imagine that is a building. When your users go into the building, there is a security guard that opening 100 rules to determine whether these users are allowed to open the record, edit, or just view. So always try to make sure there is no duplicate rules, which is like unnecessary at all. Of course, you say I need to have sharing rules. That's fine. I think that validation rules. This also impact on how fast you save the record. When you click save button, the more validation rules you have, the more triggers you have, it's slower. Of course, you need to say I need to have some rules. I can't have no rules, but you need to try to make the balance whether this is something needed, okay, or something can be combined. The last one is for mostly for developers. When you build an Apex call out, whether you check whether this is something to be synced or you can set as asynchronous. Asynchronous to let your users to do something as well. The system at the back still get the data from other systems. Next, data integrity. Your users is not just the data entry users, but also from the management, from the reporting guy, or from other departments. Make sure your data is complete, clean, accurate. Traditional rules is important to make sure the data is clean. If you implement a rules that you expect your users to enter the data in that text box, make sure you have the, let's say, required fields or validation rules if you need a logic behind. If you just do by training, in the real, there will be human error or new joiner or user forget and your data will not be clean. Validation rules is the most important. Duplicate management to make sure there's no duplicate data entered, but duplicate management is based on how you determine it is duplicate. So not always duplicate management in my company will be same with your company. LOV instead of text, this is also very important. imagine that you let your user to enter, let's say, Singapore, SG, S4. You can't run a report and group it, right? So that is not something your management or the reporting guy want to see. If for that kind of things, you can make use of LOV instead of text. Formula field is something simple. Try to make use formula field, right, whenever possible. I still see some people using triggers to get the data from other objects. That may work, but triggers, for some reason, when it doesn't work well, so that your data is corrupted. It's no longer synced to the parent or field. And last one I put here, no duplicate field label. You can have duplicate. Okay, that's not possible. You can't have duplicate API name as well. The issues here say, oh, I have duplicate field label, but I only show one field in the page layout. But when you users try to do a list view or try to run a report, they will confuse which is the correct field I should use. Okay, so make sure there's no duplicate field label. There's something very easy you can do as a Salesforce professional. Error handling, always use required fields, as mentioned earlier. If there's no logic, if you logic, use validation rules. Show all errors at once. If you see my screenshot here, this is a validation rules. It will show me clear I need to enter these two fields. Make use of exception handling, like cats. This is not something your users want to see. When they see this, they will say, oh, my developers is so bad. They don't even able to write the code properly. Or they will say, oh, Salesforce is so bad. This is not Salesforce actually. The same thing here. Try to make a good error catch. So this last one, empowers continuous training, whether to use if you have a learning management systems or make use of in-app guidance or MyThread is not free, but yeah, the idea. Your users need to keep understand the thing change in the system in the Salesforce. Enable features that will empower users, whether you use embedded dashboard, opportunity scoring, activity captures, mobile app. This mostly is a free when you buy Salesforce, right? When you buy Salesforce license. But this is good for you. If you not enable this, you user may not aware, but you as a Salesforce professional, you need to let your users, your customer know that these features is exist. They can make use to help them, to empower them to use Salesforce. Summary is the key takeaway. Make it simple, make it standard, organized. Always think about performance, data integrity. If data is duplicate, it's not clean, people will not trust the systems. Make a good error handling and empower users. Always talk to your users. What is their pain point and how the system can help them. So your job as a Salesforce professional is not just adding fields, adding rules, but to understand why they need this and how to make them happy, how to make their life easier. When your users happy, you will be happy and your life will be easier. Okay, so that's all my sharing for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Johan, for that wonderful session. Folks, unfortunately, we had some technical issues to begin with. I really apologize for that. And we will have the recording available 48 hours after day 2, that's tomorrow. So hopefully you can catch up again on some of the great tips that Johan had for us in terms of user experience, right? You can still go ahead, and if you caught some of that, you can still ask your questions or anything related to user experience. Johan is the expert on that. He'll be very happy to answer. We do have some time for Q&A. I'll take the first one that we have in Q&A asked by Christian. So Johan, organizing or grouping, is it the same thing, or does it mean like group same information together, and organizing ascending or descending order? Do you want to take a stab at that question?
Sure. Thanks, Christian, for the questions. So first of all, when we look at the some informations, whether in accounts or opportunity or lead or custom objects, see what is the purpose of that fields and who is the audience of that fields. It doesn't mean that it need to be like ascending or descending order, but usually, from my understanding, people tend to see on the top the most important things and less important things at the bottoms. So if I go to the, let's say, opportunities, usually the most important is the states and the customers, and who is the reps for the opportunities. So that kind of things, like every company maybe have different, but you can see the 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 the, the importance of that group of the fields, and who is the audience. That's my.
Okay, great. Thank you, Johan. We got one more question just came in. What's your favorite user experience feature among all the different features that you mentioned, like considering performance?
Uh, the first thing I saw a lot is, I mentioned earlier in my slide, is the rules. I mean, I work with a company with this of Salesforce, and we have like, I don't know, 100 CN rules, and a lot of the rules is duplicate. Even it doesn't really duplicate in it is duplicate. What I mean is, like, when you do a chain rules, let's say you share to A and it's rolled up to the boss, and then you share another one, is rolled up to the A. So that chain rules is unnecessary. If you try to remove that chain rules, you will see the performance better. Another, of course, is the fields. So here, if you have like 200 people keep adding fields, after a while your page will look much slower if you do that. So if you don't believe, you can just add in the sandbox. You add 200 fields and you compare to the 10 fields, how the performance. I doesn't say that you have to space layout if it doesn't make sense, but see whether that fields is need to be in the layout, because information can be pulled from the reporting as well. All different users can be accessed, have different layout. So let's say marketing, I only want to see these 20 fields, marketing profiles. You can build a component for that, right? So you can have different page layout for the, let's say, for sales. So that's one thing you can check who is the audience of the fields.
Got it.
Okay.
That was very helpful tip, Johan. Thank you. I do have one more question regarding the certification that probably everybody here has heard about, the new UX designer certification exam that was launched recently by Salesforce, right? So according to you, who would benefit from this certification? Who can take them? And are there any tips from your side for taking this?
Yep. I got these certifications like 2 months back. I think it's quite. Ideally, this, I mean, for all of us who implement Salesforce, whether you are a consulting or you are in-house admin or you're developers, right? It is good to follow the best practice on what Salesforce want us to implement. So let's say in the past, I'm a lot of the human research, human-centered design. So in that user experience, there is a thread module that I also go to. It asks like how we should do a research, how we design the systems, like even like SLDS, Salesforce Technical Systems. I don't know a lot past, but yeah. So based on that, I learned a lot of things. We can make use of whatever Salesforce already offered, and and so when we study, if you go to that certification again, certification, you also learn a new things like human-centered design, how the design are about, and yeah. So I think for that certificate is benefit for all of us when we are doing Salesforce like almost every day, right? Yeah, it's good for us to just to prove that this. Yeah. So
Got
for
it.
me, I
Thank
take
you.
the
Thank you very
certificate 2
much,
months back.
Johan.
So after I study the third and that's done.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. I think we had just one question from Shabana. It's regarding the recordings. I'm sure a few of the other folks also had the same question. So the recordings will be available on the platform. So if you have registered, you should be able to see that 48 hours after the event ends. Okay, so it will be there available for 90 days, from once the event has ended. So you should be able to come back, log in using the login that you have right now, and you should be able to see the recordings for all the sessions. Okay, So definitely do catch up. And I really hope you will be able to go through this re-recording of this session again, and then reach out to Johan offline, and I'm sure you will have more questions for him. So do reach out to him either through the platform today, or through his social contacts, and then he'll be definitely happy to answer your questions as well. Okay. So thank you very much, Johan, for taking time out and helping answer this question and this wonderful session. Now, before we leave, please do help us to improve by completing there's a short survey after each of the sessions. It will just take a few seconds, and you can also earn points by submitting the survey, right? So you can now exit back to the auditorium and choose the next breakout session that you would like to attend. Okay. Thank you for joining us today, and have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, you.
Thank you, Johan.
Everyone.